Hey everyone, hope you're all doing well. It's been a while since I had a chance to do one of these videos. I've been sort of putting a fair few bits on Twitter and trying to blog a bit more, but there was one that got quite a big response, and it was all about some questions that I've personally been asked over the last few weeks. And somebody said to me, "Oh, are you going to put this into a vlog?" And I thought, yeah, okay, why not? So essentially there was a list of questions, and these are all genuine things that I have been asked in the last, I don't know, let's say 3 or 4 weeks now, for argument's sake. And my take on it. I just want to make that clear before we start. This is just my take on it, my opinion. Doesn't mean it's right. Probably means it's wrong, to be honest. If it's my opinion, it's probably wrong. But, so that's basically what I'm going to do, and start off really with the first one. So the first question, believe it or not, I was actually asked, what are trans people? Not, what am I? Well, what I said was, but basically, as far as I'm concerned, trans people are just like everybody else. They're just normal people, and it just so happens that some of my physical characteristics that I was born with don't match who I am, don't match my identity, and that causes me quite a bit of discomfort. So yeah, I mean that led on to the next question, which was so trans people are just confused about who they are. No, to be crystal clear, for one, I know exactly who I am. It's not a case of confusion. I mean, don't get me wrong, it took me a long time, far too long, to really understand what that meant, and process some of the emotions and the feelings, and it's a very complicated thing. But as I learned to understand sort of, the difference between what was sort of social anxiety and sort of growing up, for want of a better term, a phrase, and what was really dysphoria. It became quite apparent that, actually there's nothing wrong with me, I'm just trans, that's cool, which made life a hell of a lot easier, just knowing that there wasn't actually anything wrong with me. Which again, this leads on quite well actually, because it was all in one conversation, and somebody asked me, so how do you know that you're trans? And it's quite difficult to answer. It wasn't an easy one to answer, because being realistic, there's been a lot of sort of conflict in me, and it took me a long time to sort of really work out that, oh wait, all of those things, all of those times where I didn't feel right in my role, where I felt like, really, is this what I have to do because of basically because of my genitals? Is this what I have to do? All of that at the time, it just seemed like, oh, okay, yeah, so this is just what I have to do. But it turns out, no, it isn't. That once I learned the right language and learned to understand things like dysphoria, it became very apparent to me that what I was going through wasn't just some sort of something that was weird about me. It was because I was transgender, and that was basically the summary of that. I mean, I keep talking about dysphoria. Sorry, I've got them written down because I'm forgetful. I keep talking about dysphoria, and somebody did actually say to me the other day, so do you have to have dysphoria to be trans? And I know this is quite a sort of sticky topic for some people. No, you don't have to have dysphoria. But I think in reality that, I know I do, and all of the trans people the vast quantity of the trans people that I know have dysphoria in some form or another. To explain it, and it was, actually, I'm running through this quite quick. Somebody said to me, so, dysphoria, that's just hating your body. You don't like something about your body, that's just hating your body. And no, this isn't about body confidence, okay? There is a massive difference between body confidence, and I can assure you I have significant body confidence issues. but they've not got anything to do with the fact that, well, apart from the obvious ones, they haven't got anything to do with the fact that I've got dysphoria. The body confidence issues I have are because, I don't like having a sticky outy belly when I'm, wearing tighter clothes. I don't like sort of the flatness of my chest. Yeah, okay, fair enough. You could argue that's a sexual characteristic, but, I find those sort of things they're all solvable problems, which are probably generated more socially, i.e., does my body conform to stereotypes, as opposed to, oh, wait a minute, that part of my body is just doesn't match up with who I am. Genital dysphoria for me is a significant thing, and it has impacted me over the years in terms of, quite a few things. But, even, I know it sounds silly, but I have to wash and bathe and shower. And it sucks because, what you're seeing here and what I see when I look in a mirror is somewhat offset by what I actually see when I have to get naked, basically. And that's awful, because it's not that I don't like that part of me, it's that I don't associate myself with those characteristics, with having those genitals. And that, for me, is a big difference between what is sort of dysphoria about a body part and what is, I suppose the term is dysmorphia, or, just general body confidence. Okay, my opinions, remember, just my opinions. So somebody then asked me, and these are all real questions to the record, true things that I've been asked, can't you just dress how you want? And yes, you can. Anyone can wear whatever they want to wear. People can dress how they like. Sure, you might have a work clothing policy or a, school uniform policy. And indeed, there's, if you're going to a formal event, probably don't want to wear jeans and a t-shirt. Standard, right? But there's a massive difference between expression, i.e. what clothes you're wearing, and identity, i.e. who you actually are. And whilst, my choice of clothing generally is quite expressive of my identity, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's all there is to it. In fact, it certainly, in my case anyway, does not mean that's all there is to it. And there are people out there who don't necessarily have a gender identity issue and enjoy what would be, for one of the, I suppose the right term is cross-dressing. And then there's the artistic form of it. You've got drag acts, you've got people that are transvestites. But that's not what being transgender is about for me. It's not about the clothes. I think that's quite an important thing to hammer home. This isn't about what I can wear, because, like I say, wear whatever you want. 9 times out of 10, I am wearing jeans and a t-shirt. Yeah, if I'm going somewhere nice, I might put something nice on. If it's hot, I might wear a summery dress because it's hot. I don't necessarily want to be in tight jeans and a tight t-shirt. But that's just because they're the right clothes for the situation, given who I am and given my gender. So I don't know. I think it's just one of those things, isn't it? We get subjected to it from birth, that little boys are immediately wrapped in blue with t-shirts with, monster trucks or dinosaurs and things like that. And then little girls wear pretty pink and princesses. And there's huge correlation between the clothes make of the person and, frankly, it's complete and utter rubbish. Right. Park that. Going on a rant. Trying not to. This next one I've got to be a bit more sensitive about, because I think that when I was doing sort of short snippets, bear in mind I'm trying to fit them into tweets at the time, I didn't necessarily cover the subject fully, or indeed what I was getting at. And someone's asked me, and in fact it's somebody from within the LGBT community at an event, at a bar, and they asked me, what do you think about trans kids? I was like, sorry? I did. First off, I didn't really know how to answer. What do you mean? What do I think? Trans children exist the same way as trans adults exist. It doesn't matter what age you are when you start to discover these things. I think what they were getting at, and their next question led on to it, was that I've heard trans kids can be given hormones. Now, that's true. Simply, it is true that there are certain processes where trans children can be identified as being trans, can be given appropriate other therapies if necessary, and after, a hell of a lot of well, I think bureaucracy belittles it, but after a very stringent diligence process, then yes, trans children can indeed be given, be they puberty blockers or indeed in some cases cross-sex hormones. In fact, I think what's happened is the media have jumped on this and said this huge sensationalist thing that like children as young as 5 are being given chemicals to permanently alter their body. I'm sorry, right? Let's clear this up. Going through puberty permanently altered my body. If I had known then what I knew now, and if I'd had the resources available that I have now, I would have jumped at the chance to stop that horrible situation occurring, to stop puberty happening to me because of what it did to me. It's, made my transition later in life a hell of a lot more difficult. So yes, first off, trans kids exist. Get over it. And secondly, yeah, sure, trans kids can have hormones. They're not giving them out like Smarties after a party. This isn't an uncontrolled process where you knock on the door, say, "Hi there, my son's been wearing dresses, can he have some puberty blockers?" It doesn't work like that. So stop worrying about the fact that there's this peculiar, almost like this recruitment drive to drag young people into the trans arena so that we can hold them up as examples. No. But we do hold up the example of the respect that they deserve, and indeed the respect they command for coming out and for being themselves and for understanding that at such a young age. That's an incredible thing, and it shouldn't be scoffed at, and indeed it shouldn't be belittled in the media. In fact, that sort of leads on to the next one. It's almost like I planned this. It leads on to the next one. Well, how comes being transgender so popular now? It wasn't like this 10 years ago. Okay, first off, let's break these words down. Popular. No, I'm sorry. It's not something that people, I'm sure there's possibly people out there who go, "Oh, maybe I'm trans, that's a good idea." No, I'm sorry. This was like such a huge thing for me to come to terms with. This is not a decision that I made that, "Oh, I'll go and be trans, I'll see how that goes." Yeah, it's not something that people do to become popular. In fact, I speak to very few trans people. I mean, a few, but I speak to very few trans people who would say, that if they had a choice that they would be trans. No, it just doesn't come up. But why wasn't it so popular 10 years ago? Well, I'm sorry, but 10 years ago there were trans people, 20 years ago, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, and probably further back than that. There were trans people. But what happened is they were attacked, they were scapegoated, they were, legislated and frankly abused and forced out of existence, forced into hiding. Now, though, people are becoming more aware, and with the dawn of the internet and social media, and indeed perhaps a slightly more enlightened generation of people, some people are less frightened about coming forward and saying, "Hi, I'm transgender," than perhaps they used to be. So it's not that it's more popular. It's not that it's happening more, even. It's just that people are just that little bit less frightened. That little bit less frightened about, "Oh my God, does this make me a complete freak? Is there something wrong with me?" People are a bit more empowered these days to be able to turn around and actually say with a degree of confidence that I'm struggling with my gender identity and I need some support. And again, that leads on quite nicely to this bit, that I think there's this narrative, particularly in sort of the right-wing media, that trans people, when I say trans people, let's get this straight, a lot of this is focused at trans women. And this narrative that we're some sort of threat, be that a threat to women's only spaces or be that a threat to elite athletes, the trans women are going to take over all of the athletic records. Honey, honestly, Sharon Davis, if you're listening, please feel free to come to the gym with me one day and see what little threat I am. In the 9 months since I started hormone replacement therapy, my muscle mass has dropped considerably. Any of the advantages of testosterone, for the record, my testosterone level is probably lower than most women's, quite frankly. And And socially, what threat do I really pose? I'm not some sort of, pervert. I'm not out to do this to sneak into your changing room so I can get a glimpse. I hate going in changing rooms, and I hate having to go in toilets, quite frankly, because I'm frightened of how other people perceive me and of how other people might react. And you've got laws changing in the States that permit and I quote, the gay panic defence. There's laws changing all over the world to take rights away from people, to make it okay for trans people to feel threatened. Am I a threat? No. Do I feel threatened? Well, yes, I do. I suppose the pinnacle of this sort of argument, and it's the one that comes up, and in fairness, a friend of mine pointed out to me that it's not quite as clear-cut as I said, but it's this whole, aren't men sneaking into women's loos and then claiming that they're transgender? Well, generally, no. I think there have been a few reported examples. Perhaps some of them have been misreported, and indeed, perhaps post the event, some guys have turned around after some perverts have snuck into a ladies' loo, which for the record is not good behaviour. Have snuck into a ladies' loo, got caught, and then turned around and pleaded that they're trans. But generally, these are few, very, very few and far between. In reality, I still get nervous going to the loo because, like I say, am I a threat? No, but do I feel threatened? Yes. If someone decides that they're going to cause me a problem because I'm using the right toilet, that's a huge worry. I just want to pee and wash my hands. That's all I want to do. It's not a lot to ask, is it? Anyway, moving on. I suppose the next bit is this is one that sort of upsets me a little bit. It's that when people think that I need to be cured of my transness, should we call it transness? I don't need to be cured of anything. There is nothing wrong with me. Well, there's a few things I could do with losing some weight, and I could do with getting a bit more exercise, right? But there's nothing actually wrong with me. I'm not ill because I'm trans. I've not got some disease, some mental illness or anything like that. I just don't identify with some of the more obvious physical characteristics that I was born with. They're just not reflective of who I am inside. You can't cure something if there's nothing to cure, if there's nothing wrong. Yes, I will be having some treatment to solve those problems. I am already having some treatment. I'm having hormones. But they are... in some respects, they're therapeutic because it's, bringing my body chemistry in line with my brain and making everything work in the right way. But it's not cure because I don't need to be cured because there's nothing wrong with me. Honest. The last one, I think this is more about attitude than anything else, really. A lot of this is, yeah, but this is definitely more about attitude than anything else. So you just say you're a woman and we have to accept that. Well, first off, in his shortest answer, yep, yes you do. But to be crystal clear, I'm not just saying. There's no just say about it. Psychological assessments, medical assessments, documented evidence. At some point in the next however long, I will be up in front of the gender recognition people. That's a panel, I don't even know if I actually go in front of them, but I will be presenting evidence to demonstrate that I've had certain treatments and to demonstrate that I've done things like change my name. I've got to prove that I've been, quote, living in role, which includes working and social life and, evidence to that effect to prove that I am who I say I am and this isn't just some sort of fad or some rash decision. So no, for the record, I don't just rock up and be like, yeah, I'm a girl now, I'll deal with it. But day to day, dealing with, everyone in the public, yeah, that is basically what it amounts to, I suppose. If you want to see my birth certificate, fine, you have to wait because I'm trying desperately to get it changed and it's a long, drawn-out and bureaucratic process. Needs reform. But just to interact with me as a person on a day-to-day basis, do I really need to tell you anything other than, do I even need to tell you? I mean, you know, do I need to tell you? I mean, yes, apparently. But there you go. Short answer is, you know, no, it's not quite that simple. But day to day, yeah, if someone tells you that their gender is male, female, non-binary, whatever it might be, then just accept it, you know, move on. Accept is the word. Because something I've had thrown back at me recently was, well, do we have to like it? And no, you do not. That's the beauty of this life, and it's the beauty of living in a, you know, in an open and free society, is that you don't have to like anything. I can't make you like me. I'm not a particularly likable person. But by the same token, I don't like onions. I don't have to like onions, you know. But I'm not denying that onions exist. I'm not denying onions are a thing. I'm not denying that other people like onions. They're quite a good, staple food. I don't like onions, and that's fine. Hey, if you don't like me, if you don't like trans people, then, you know, either you don't really know any, or you're just being a bigot. But if you don't like me, that's fine. It doesn't really matter. I can't please all the people all the time. What I do ask, though, and what this whole sort of thing is about, is that just be respectful. I've been through a lot, you know. I've survived, endured a hell of a lot to get to this point in my life. And these are all, I've written them down, these are all real questions that I've been asked. They're not questions that have been asked, you know, they're not questions they've asked a scholar, or they've asked, you know, they've asked me because I was holding a sign up saying, hey, free answers to your questions over here. These are questions I've been asked in day-to-day life, and they've been asked because someone's identified me as being trans. These sort of questions, sorry, what are trans people? They don't feel nice. Oh, so you expect us to call you she? Well, yeah, everyone else does. I'm a she. These aren't nice questions to ask someone. They do nothing for, you know, my self-esteem, to say the least. So just try and be a bit more considerate. You know, even those seemingly well-meaning people, oh, I've never met a trans person before and I'm really curious, you wouldn't mind answering? Oh, okay, cool. There's a million and one things I want to talk about, to be honest. I've got opinions on a hell of a lot of stuff that I don't share on YouTube because, you know, probably get me in trouble. But no, I've got a life outside of my gender. You know, I don't want to talk to a complete stranger in a pub, in a restaurant, in a swimming pool recently, you know, about what is essentially quite all right, fair enough, significant, but just part of my medical history, you know. So yeah, I realise that most people that are going to watch this don't need to be told this, but there are still a lot of people out there who do. So no, you don't have to like me. You don't have to agree with, you know, trans people's assessments of themselves even. But you should at least have the decency to respect the struggles that we go through and respect the fact that we do exist, like it or not. Right. That's about it. I'm about done. I don't know if this has been any use to anybody whatsoever, but somebody asked me to do it. Already had the questions, constantly with the questions. So I thought I might as well just make a video about it. Hey, maybe I could like put a link to this with a QR code and just have it on a t-shirt. And next time somebody wants to come and ask me one of this list of stupid questions, one of this list of questions, I can just say, sure, scan the QR code to find out more. I don't know. Right, thanks for listening, guys. Sorry, once again, gone off on a rant, but, you know, it's good to get it out every now and then. So, nice to speak to you all. Hope you're doing well. Peace. and love, and bye.